Hi, in this video, we're going to give you an overview of what eTMACT is. The tool for measurement of ACT was originally designed as a paper-based fidelity assessment tool, as you can see here. Evaluators who are trained in the TMACT review process would print off and use this 200 plus pages to conduct a review, compiling and calculating data to determine ratings. eTMACT is a secure web-based interface that was designed to both enhance trained TMACT evaluators' accuracy in ratings, which then improves the overall reliability and validity of the measurement process and findings, and shortens the amount of time it takes to get helpful feedback back to the ACT team. In turn, ACT teams participating in reviews using eTMACT will benefit from more prompt feedback, more accurate ratings, and have the option to migrate over previously entered data and receive more customized feedback reports comparing their practice to de-identified comparison samples. Let's take a quick tour of what eTMACT has to offer. All data you'll be viewing are fake for the purpose of this demonstration. So once an evaluation has been set up by the lead evaluator, the team leader or primary contact will receive an email. They then set up a password secure access to eTMACT and are prompted to start submitting information. One of the first things they'll do is set up a client roster. They will have the opportunity to submit partial names, no more than 2 characters for the last name. They can elect to create their own IDs if they wish. What's important to know is that eTMACT is going to assign IDs as well. And it is those IDs that everybody else logged in to review this team will see. They will not see these partial names that the team may elect to enter. Other items to complete are the team survey and the client survey, which is set up to be very similar to what teams were used to with a paper-based review. They'll be filling out a staff table and then other pieces of information related to staffing and caseload and so forth. Similarly, the client survey will resemble what they're familiar with when it came to what was the client spreadsheet. Each column that was in the Excel spreadsheet is now its own form. And the team is identifying whether these experiences or situations are true for these individuals. Throughout eTMACT, there are green information icons built in where you can click on those to receive a definition or other information. The team is also prompted to submit sample document uploads. So this is where the evaluators can more easily recall some of the tools that the team may be using, but without any type of PHI included. These should be de-identified. Once the information is completed, the team leader would submit this in the final submission. That would then send an email to the lead evaluator, who then would go in, review, and confirm. At that point, eTMACT is ready to consider selecting the randomly selected charts for review. Now logged in as a lead evaluator, we can see all the different functional tools eTMACT includes. You're able to see the information that was submitted by the team. When you're on site during the review, you'll be interacting with the interview tool. Here, you'll be selecting who it is you're meeting with. That generates a list of the relevant items, and you just start clicking through and taking notes as you go through the interview. When you're needing information that may live in another part of the system, oftentimes eTMACT knows to migrate that over right here in the non-interview sources. such as information that came through the team survey. eTMACT also includes this function called tag it. And what this is when you're interviewing a staff member and they provide you with information that you know to be relevant to another item in the system, you can essentially grab that information, click tag it, pull up where it belongs elsewhere, and save it. That allows this piece of data to live with that other item and be referred to when you're making your ratings. The on-site evaluators may also be interacting with the chart log access tool. This is where eTMACT is listing the randomly selected IDs, and you're pulling that chart open for client 18 and going through and submitting information. So diagnosis, whether the diagnosis was judged to meet admission criteria, who saw the person last in terms of being the psychiatric care provider, what was the date of that visit, where do they see them, evidence of therapy, and then going through and every service contact with the team in the 4-week period would be entered here. As these entries are being submitted, eTMACT is starting to create the tally sheets. There really is very little hand calculations on the part of the evaluator, if any at all. eTMACT is creating them for us, such as intensity of services, frequency of contact, team approach, priority service population. When there's questions about what you're seeing here, there's easy access back to that chart. So data relevant to the full responsibility items are all showing up in this table, as well as the longer chart reviews where we're looking at assessments and treatment plan information. After the review, each evaluator will go back to review the data and rate the team across items using the rating tool. eTMACT will populate in relevant numbers throughout to facilitate accurate ratings, such as you see here. Whenever you see yellow font on a blue background, eTMACT generated those figures from another source, like our chart log tallies. eTMACT is programmed to know which rating is likely the accurate one, given the information that is showing up here. So for instance, this green highlighted box is what eTMACT is choosing. The evaluator going through the rating tool is then reviewing and confirming this information. eTMACT is set up so that the evaluator is clicking on whether or not functions or criteria are met with no credit, partial credit, or full credit. And similarly, it's programmed to know what rating to give given the profile of these ratings, such as here, generating a 4. To make the most accurate ratings, eTMACT also provides access to everybody's interview notes and chart entry summaries. So you're not just relying on what your notes said. So here, if you go to interview responses for this item, you'd be able to see the notes from all the evaluators as part of this team. Similarly, if you go to chart entry summaries, you can see all note entries across all the charts, and you can narrow it further to a specific domain, like co-occurring disorder treatment. Once an evaluator has inputted the ratings, or all the evaluators have inputted their ratings, eTMACT will then allow you to click on the consensus rating tool. Here, eTMACT will populate in what everybody's ratings were, and then prompt for consensus to be discussed for that given item. The final step in eTMACT will be to generate a partially written final report for the lead evaluator to edit and personalize further for that team. This report will drop in data points that are easy for the system to extract and input into a report, such as people's names, information like FTE, also ratings, both at the item level and the criterion or function level with no credit, partial credit, and full credit. This further expedites the process of getting the final report written as the writing has already started. This completes our tour of eTMACT.